Hello everyone. Recently I made a video talk about how Dralamar has been nerfed. And it has. Or rather it's been reverted back to what it was when it came out. It no longer refreshes mana with the base cost of spells, plus the mana cost of ether snaps has been increased as well. So by all means this archetype should be dead, right? There's no way this deck is viable enough to see play. But then I saw this.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Bro, that was like turn 6. I thought we already destroyed this card. And you know what? Of all people, it has to be HPain that's bringing this card back. And we all know his hatred for the card. Now I mentioned earlier that this nerf was really only changing Dralamar back to what it was a while ago. But I think it's important to make a timeline for this card to help document how long this card's been a problem. So let's take a journey back in time. Back in time to the beginning of CSR, aka Core Set Refresh. So the date is March 4th, 2022. Board Wipe Death is the current king of the meta. HPain is at the top of the leaderboards, weekend ranked is still 25 games, Ethereum is $2,600, and the player base is still around 20,000 unique players per day. And that's when it happens. Core Set Refresh is officially announced for March 8th. March 7th, another update. This time a full list of cards is released, and of course it's released in the most reader-friendly method possible, Microsoft Excel. Now, there were quite a few new cards being introduced, and of course there was some uproar about the unbalanced nature of some of the cards. Now, Copper Pitch did have this to say about Dralamar.
Dralamar, Breaker of Crystals, is the most busted card in the set. This one I'm so excited to play with, also terrified to play against, and I think it will have to be changed within a matter of days. There's no way they can leave this as is. If you can get this to stick for a single turn, you can then play every single spell in your entire hand. Many spells allow you to draw cards. You can even play your entire deck of spells if you get this card to stick for even a single turn.
However, notice how he says, if it sticks for a turn. This would imply that not even he really knew how strong Dralamar was going to be. March 8th, 2022, Core Set Refresh goes live. March 12th, 2022, the weekend ranked. It comes and goes. Magic does appear to be the dominant force, however it turns out spell magic is still the strongest archetype, and Dralamar is nowhere to be found in these lists. March 17th, 2022, a new update of fresh nerfs and buffs. Magic would finally get nerfed in terms of its spell damage, and Aggro Light would infamously gain its buffs. However, on this day, one of GU's top content creators, Unchained, would make the first Dralamar combo video. Now, as you can see, his deck looks a little clunky. Notice how he has some useless cards like Flying Carpet and Academy Familiar. Also, he's running only one Ether Snap, so it would make sense that he would have such a bad record. Now, listen to his statement right here.
Listen up. Now, if you want to learn how to spend $160 on a deck with a 14.3% win rate, I can teach you how to do that in a few simple, easy steps. Let's go through those right now.
So this implies that Lion thought this was just going to be a fun meme deck or something of the sort. Personally, I don't blame him for not knowing that he just created a monster. If it wasn't him to create it, I'm sure someone else would. But that brings up the question, why didn't this deck ever really take over the meta? Was it because no one had the cards because the Core Set Refresh was so new? Or was it because there were so many new aggro decks that were simply much easier to play? I think it was a combination of both. But what about the other version of Dralamar? The 7 mana, refresh the base cost version. This change happened on March 30th, 2022, and this was actually an update announced by Kinda Squishy, on the Patch Notes channel Discord. Interestingly enough, if you check out the update section on the Gods Unchained website, there's no mention of this update. So make your own conclusions of what that means. So the current 7 mana version of Dralamar has been able to reign for just under 5 months, until of course the most recent patch, which reverted him to his original version. Now I know in my previous video I made it seem that nerfing Ether Snaps was overkill to the nerf of Dralamar. Maybe it was because my memory is a little hazy around that time, but now I think increasing the mana cost was completely necessary. That way this combo just won't exist, right? Well, not exactly. Remember earlier in the video when I said Lion's deck looked clunky and it was made just for memes? Well, what happens when you take one of the top players in the game who has multiple first place finishes in weekend ranked, as well as an absurd deck creating skills and deck piloting skills? Then you give him free reign on Dralamar. Well, you get this. So, in case you don't understand what you just saw, the opponent is playing Hidden Rush Deception. That is the fastest deck in the game, and HPain just outraced it. This, potentially, is the kind of Dralamar you're going to be facing in the coming future when everyone figures out how to use it. Or maybe not. Some of these cards are fairly expensive, and the skill curve does seem pretty high for now. So what do you think? Will Dralamar come back to dominate? Or am I just getting ahead of myself and overreacting? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I know I don't make the highest quality content out there, but every view, every like, every subscriber really motivates me to continue making videos. So remember, new videos every week. Later.